Hello and welcome back. We are continuing on our work on Unit 4, our Paint 1-Point Perspective Room, and we are working on Lesson 4.11 today. Now, the focus of our lesson is going to be our stairs for this next part of our drawing. So let's go ahead and draw some stairs. I'm going to go ahead and get out to our desktop. I'm going to go to my File Explorer, and to find your project, if it's not already here, you're going to hit Documents. You're going to go to your digital art folder. You're going to find your project folder, and then you're going to find the project file. So I'm going to hover over that. It tells me that it is that BMP file. So I'm going to right click on that file, open with, and tell it to open in Paint. Okay, so we're going to force that to open. All right, this is looking really great. I'm filling in lots of detail. And so what we're going to do now is add some stairs. So it makes sense that there would be a doorway and then stairs into that doorway or through that doorway. So I'm going to go ahead and put some stairs on here. Unfortunately, probably should have done this before I added all this beautiful detail over here because we're going to draw through that detail. So I'm going to show you a little trick in using some layers to help alleviate some of the laborious intensive part of erasing some guidelines. So first, if this is a open doorway to stairs, we're going to erase this doorknob so we don't have that. And then we're going to draw in the first step here for stairs is to draw the rise and run of the step. Okay, and I'm actually going to do that on the back wall. So I'm going to show you another little trick. So I'm going to start, I'm going to zoom in here so we can kind of see the back wall and we can see our doors here. I'm going to start in a nice, clean, empty area. And I'm going to draw a perfectly square box. So I'm holding the Shift button. It should be 1 pixel wide. Okay, so there is my first step. We'll get to that in a second. I'm going to take that exact same rectangle or square. I'm going to use the select tool and I'm going to select that square and I'm going to hit Control C to copy and Control V to paste. Now the problem with this right now is if I paste it, you can see that there is white around the background. So this little pop-up will open up and I'm going to say remove the background. And it's going to be just that square now. So I can overlay that square. I'm going to position that square so that it fits perfectly into the square and below it, lining those things up like that. I did lose a little pixel there. So let me see here. There used to be transparent selection. Let's try this. And we're going to grab those two, copy, Control V. That's transparent and I can, that's better. Do that. Use the transparent select. Line that back up. I'm using the arrow keys on my keyboard to make sure that that is lined up perfectly. Something like that. And I'm going to do one more set. So I'm going to Control V and paste another set of stairs. Rise and run like that. Now that's plenty of stairs. You just need enough that's going to be the width of the door that you have. Okay, so now that I have that, I'm going to zoom in and clean this up. So I'm going to take away the, well, this is something to think about. When you go in your door, do you want to step up or should there be a landing and then a step? Well, the correct answer to that is it should have a landing. So you're going to keep the bottom set of lines. So I'm going to neatly come in and carefully erase, again, every single neat pixel here. Over. So that all we have is the rise and run of the steps. Erased too much. And I don't need that there either. Okay, so now I have this nicely done zigzag. Now, why did we do that? Because it's very important that they stay consistent. They're the same size from step to step to step to step for it to be realistic. Okay, now I'm going to use that selection tool again. I have this in a nice clean white area. I'm going to grab my select tool. I'm going to select that drawing that we just did. And I'm going to make sure that that selection is transparent. And all I'm going to do is move that selection over here to my door. And I'm going to line it up so that it is right here at the bottom of the door. Something like that. and then I'm going to click off of it to set that selection. I'm going to zoom in, and on the left-hand side, I will erase the lines inside the trim. And I probably should have cleaned up. There's a couple of missing pixels in my steps. So while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and do that too. So I'm going to grab my pencil tool. I'll use a regular left click to just go in and add every other step needed an extra pixel. All right, that looks fabulous. So that's the first major hurdle when drawing your stairs. The next thing that we want to do is put in, the lines that actually go back to the vanishing point. And this is where I'm going to teach you another trick. We have our vanishing point, we have our lines. I'm going to grab the layers tool using this up here, and I'm going to add a layer. Now, this is because we have so much already drawn, and this is going to save us a lot of time in erasing. So I'm going to grab a line tool. I'm going to make sure the line tool is 1 pixel thick, and I'm going to make it blue. Anytime I'm drawing in blue, those are guidelines that I will eventually trace over top of with black. So this layer that I just added is only ever going to include blue lines. I'm going to start at my vanishing point. I'm going to draw across my composition, and I'm going to look at this corner where the step is. But I'm going to go beyond that intersection of that corner. I'm going to go all the way across to my trim. But I need to make sure that it lines up in that corner on the right there. So line that up perfectly and then release that line. And I'm going to do this for the inside corner and the outside corner of each step. So we'll go here. Remember that these are just guidelines, so I don't have to be super perfect about ending and starting, but they have to go through that corner. So these corners are super important. And I'm going to do the inside corner, and I'm going to do this top outside corner, and there's a lot of lines. You can see how this would be a lot to go back and erase through my dresser, which is why we're using the layers and which is why we should have probably drawn this before the dresser. If we're thinking about drawing from the outside and the foreground to the background, well, this is closer to the foreground, and that's why we should have probably done the stairs earlier. Okay, so I have all of those orthogonal lines going back to the vanishing point for the insides of the stairs. I'm going to now switch over to layer 1, or my drawing layer. I'm going to zoom into my stairs. I'm going to start with my line tool, but I'm going to change to black, making sure it's still 1 pixel wide. And anywhere that I had a blue diagonal line, I'm going to trace. And you're like, oh, I don't see anything. That's okay. If it's perfect, you won't see anything because it's going back into space the same distance as, and it's being hidden by that blue line underneath. Now, if you see a couple of black pixels, that's perfectly fine. You might be a pixel or two off in your placement, but it's not that big a deal. Okay, it's very, very close at that point. So I'm just going to keep going and tracing these blue lines in the inside part of the stairs from top to bottom. And I know it's kind of tricky because you're like, I don't see anything, but as long as you know you're doing it and it's there, you're fine. Okay, I know it's underneath that blue line. Okay, and I'm being neat to stop at the edge of my trim line. And I'm paying attention to which one I need to do as I draw each of these. There we go. When you're done, all you're going to do is come over here to the layers palette and turn off the visibility. And now you have without erasing too much, you have some beautiful stairs on the left side of your composition. You can permanently go over when you're happy with your stairs and you can actually delete that layer in the layers palette. You don't need it anymore. Because the stairs have a interior wall, you can decorate that interior right side wall. You can put in a railing if you want. It's totally up to you. But that is the basic steps of drawing stairs. So I hope you enjoyed that lesson for stairs. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and go File, Save, because I am done drawing. And then I'm going to take a screenshot of my progress. So I'm going to go Windows Shift S on my keyboard. Let's draw a quick box around everything here I want to save for my screenshot. There we go. And I'm then going to go ahead and open that screenshot up. I'm going to hit the save button there, and I'm going to put this screenshot in our screenshot folder. So I'm going to go back to Documents, to our Digital Art Studio folder, our screenshot folder. And this is our lesson 411, but instead of fireplace this time, I did draw stairs. I'll put that in and I'm going to hit save. So now I have a copy of that screenshot that I can submit to my progress sketchbook. Again, I hope you submit that in there so I can provide you with some quality feedback on this step of the project. I hope you enjoyed drawing your stairs. If you have any concerns or questions, please reach out and let me know. I am happy to help. Until then, until the next time, enjoy the process.